Hi students, today you'll be listening to a lecture on the poem Gooboora, the Silent Pool by the Australian poet Oodgeroo Noonuccal. Now this is prescribed in your core course 5th semester paper Postcolonial Literatures. Now, who is Oodgeroo Noonuccal? Her former name was Kath Walker, and it is in 1988 that she changed her name to Oodgeroo Noonuccal. She was born on November 3, 1920, Australia, and died in September 16, 1993 in Brisbane, Australia. At that time, she was 72 years old. Her full name was Kathleen Jean Mary Ruska. Now, she was an Aboriginal Australian writer, political activist, environmentalist, and educator. And when you look at her personal life, she was born as the second youngest of 7 children. Her father, Edward Ruska, was a laborer, and her mother was Lucy. Her father, Edward, belonged to the Noonuccal tribe, which is an Aboriginal Australian tribe. Now, our writer, Kath Walker, alias Oodgeroo Noonuccal, her former education ended with primary school. Now, she left school and home at the age of 13 to work as a domestic servant, as a maid in Brisbane. At the age of 16, she was rejected for nursing training because of her Aboriginal descent. And after that, she became an activist for Aboriginal rights. And during the Second World War, Kath volunteered to enlist in the Australian Women's Army Service. And in 1942 itself, she married Bruce Walker, but their marriage was short-lived. However, by the end of 1950s, she had to come back to domestic service because she was a single mother and had to take care of her young sons. And she was a leading member of the movement to allow full citizenship to Aboriginal people. Her first volume of poetry was called We Are Going, which was published in 1964, and it is the first book by an Aboriginal writer or an Aboriginal woman writer to be published. That's something very important that you have to note. We Are Going. It is the first book by an Aboriginal woman to be published. Then moving on to her important works, The Dawn is at Hand, published in 1966, and My People, a Kath Walker collection, published in 1970. These are her 2 books of poetry. Then you have a semi-autobiographical work, Stradbroke Dreamtime, published in 1972, which tells some stories about her childhood. Then there are traditional Aboriginal folk tales, etc. And she also wrote a children's book called Father Sky and Mother Earth, published in 1981. And another work is The Rainbow Serpent, published in 1988. And in spite of her uh, various contributions as an artist, as a teacher, as a political activist, poet, etc., we see that her fame principally rests upon her poems. And the major status in the Australian literature, uh, or the position that she holds in Australian literature, is that She is the first Australian Aborigine to have ever published a book of poems for supporting the rights of the Aborigines. You can call her a post colonial poet, and her poems abound in imageries and resonances of the Aboriginals. And we can also see characters. Some of her characters are Aborigines uh, who have no contact with people outside their tribes. But they are characters, or they are people who are delightful and triumphant. They are leading their lives, they are chasing their dreams, they are having a wonderful life. But when colonialism struck them, when westernization struck them, there comes a cultural clash, and it destroys the harmony that they enjoyed in life. And through her works, she illustrates the fact that the Aborigines were not benefiting from the colonization, but they were mercilessly subjugated and exploited by this inhuman enterprise. And that's about the writer Oodgeroo Noonuccal. Over to the poem Gooboora, the silent pool. Gooboora, Gooboora, the water of fear that awed the Noonuccals, once numerous here. The bunyip is gone from your bone-strewn bed, and the clans departed to drift with the dead. Once in the far time, before the whites came, how light were their hearts in the dance and the game. Gooboora, Gooboora, to think that today a whole happy tribe are all vanished away. What mystery lurks by the water of fear, and what is the secret still lingering here? For birds hasten by as in days of old, no wild thing will drink of your waters cold. Gooboora, Gooboora, still here you remain, but where are my people I look for in vain? They are gone from the hill, they are gone from the shore, and the place of the silent pool knows them no more. But I think they still gather when daylight is done, and stand round the pool at the setting of sun, a shadowy band that is now without care, fearing no longer the thing in its air. Old death has passed by you, but took the dark throng. Now lost is the Noonuccal language and song. Gooboora, Gooboora, it makes the heart sore that you should be here, but my people no more. Now, this poem is a lamentation on the diminishing of Aboriginal community and culture after colonization. Okay, she bewails, she expresses her sorrow at seeing the loss and disintegration of her tribe, the Noonuccals. She tells us that the Noonuccal tribe was driven out of their land when the colonizers arrived. And now there is nobody left who belonged to the Noonuccal tribe. Now there is nobody left to tell them about their customs and cultures, their beliefs and rituals. So all those have become long lost traditions. So she says, Gooboora, Gooboora, the water of fear that awed the Noonuccals, once numerous here. So once upon a time, there were large groups, large communities of people who belonged to the Noonuccal tribe, who lived around the silent or the pool, the water called the water of fear called Gooboora. Now, it is described as the water of fear. There is some myth associated with that pool. The Noonuccals looked at it with awe, with fear, with wonder, with respect. The bunyip is gone from your bone strewn bed, and the clans departed to drift with the dead. Bunyip refers to a mythical monster. So she says, no one is remaining to tell the story, to relate the story of the silent pool. No one knows anything about Bunyip, a character, a monstrous character who lived there. So she says there is now only bits and pieces left, some leftovers of their history, of that tribe that remains there. And the clans, the tribes that lived there, they are all dead and gone, departed to drift with the dead. Next, she is telling us about the life before colonization or the pre-colonial times. How wonderful it was, how innocent it was, how happy lives were. That's what we see in the next stanza. Once in the far time, before the whites came, how light were their hearts in the dance and the game. Gooboora, Gooboora, to think that day, a whole happy tribe are all vanished away. So before the Westerners came, before the whites came, their hearts were lit up. They enjoyed their lives. They were dancing and singing and gaming and living their life to the fullest. It was their ecosystem, chaste, pure, untouched, a pristine space. So the poet says, Gooboora, Gooboora, to think of that day, today, now I remember with sorrow that a whole happy tribe just got wiped away, just got vanished away. So when the white settlers came, they altered everything over there. And now you just find bits and pieces of that ancient or good old times, that pre-colonial times. What mystery lurks by the water of fear? And what is the secret still lingering here? For birds hasten by as in days of old. No wild thing will drink of your waters cold. Now, there is some mystery associated with this pool, with this water body called Gooboora. But in the present generation, nobody knows what that actually is, what that myth is, or what is that secret, that mystery that is lurking by the waters of that by the water of fear. What is the secret that is still lingering here? There is some mystery even now. It can be felt, but nobody is able to describe it, explain the truth behind it. Even today, the birds nor the beast will drink the water of that pool, but nobody now knows why. The birds just swiftly fly away, and the wild things, the beasts, will also not drink from your waters. But why? So that is a mystery that cannot be solved by the present generation, and nobody from the past generation is there to explain it to them. Next answer. Gooboora, Gooboora, still here you remain. But where are my people I look for in vain? They are gone from the hill, they are gone from the shore, and the place of the silent pool knows them no more. So she asks the pool, you are still here, but where are my people? Where are my tribe? I search for them everywhere, but in vain. I cannot find anybody now. They have gone from the hill and the plains. They have gone from the shore. They have gone from the banks of the silent pool. And now nobody knows where they are, where they all have vanished. But I think they still gather when daylight is done and stand round the pool at the setting of sun, a shadowy band that is now without care, fearing no longer the thing in its lair. But then the poet says, in my mind's eye, in my imagination, in my third eye, I think I can see them. She thinks that they still gather during daylight. They still stand around the pool at the setting of the sun. Now they don't fear that pool. They are like shadows now. Nothing fears them now. And they no longer fear that thing, the bunip, the monster, who hides in his lair. Lair means a den or the place where a wild animal lives. Old death has passed by you, but took the dark throng. Now lost is the Noonuccal language and song. Gooboora, Gooboora, it makes the heart sore that you should be here, but my people no more. So she says, over the course of time, many calamities happened, many natural as well as artificial catastrophes happened. So you have seen death several times before you, and this death has taken the dark throng. Dark throng refers to that large crowd of people, that mass of people, that community of people. The reference is to the Noonuccals. Now lost is the Noonuccal language and song. So everything is lost along with the disappearance of the people, their language, their culture, their art forms, their rituals, everything related to that tribe is long lost. Gooboora, Gooboora, it makes the heart sore that you should be here, but my people no more. So my heart is writhing in pain when I see you still here flowing without my people anymore. Okay, so this is the poem Gooboora, the silent pool. So the poet, who also belongs to the Noonuccal tribe, she laments at the diminishing of that Aboriginal community. She laments of the Noonuccals who were once numerous here. The silent pool remains, but the multitude of people and their connection with it do not. There are so many meanings, so many myths associated to that pool, but no one now knows about it. See, in many cultures, these water bodies or water holes are sacred places containing some connections to their culture, beliefs, rituals, etc. The poem also evokes uh, something of that sort, and so it is a part of ritualistic storytelling that links the past and the present, or the pre-colonial and post-colonial times. And she says that the present forgotten and forsaken state is a consequence of hybridity. When colonizers come in, when new cultures come in and mix up, many customs, rituals of the original cultures tend to disappear. And with the passage of time, we see that in the colonized culture, searching for an original root and tradition will be futile, because so many rituals and traditions will no longer be practiced, and many others will copy or imitate the rituals of the colonizer. And so Noonuccal laments that when that connection to the culture, when that connection to the past is lost, this pool will simply be a water body and will uh, have no cultural significance. And we see that she talks to the pool in a way as if to share her pain, as if the pool is aware of her pain. And we also say that if you look at the present geography, this pool has been renamed by the colonizer as Lake Carboora, Karboora. And so, in conclusion, we can say that in the hybrid culture of Australia, of present day Australia, there is no more any sign of that pre colonial Australian culture. That is the state of any colonized nation, in fact. So, the poet Oodgeroo Noonuccal is trying to revive that lost culture, at least through words, through literature, and thereby she is sharing the pain, the sorrow, as well as the indignation against the greed and injustice of the white supremacist colonial society. So it's because of this fierce anti-colonial sentiments that Noonuccal has become the national poet of the Australian Aboriginals. And since her works are written in English, these works give the non-Aboriginal readers also the opportunity to gain more insight into the Aboriginal lives, about their cultures, about what they have lost, how they have been historically oppressed and subjugated by the barbaric forces of European colonialism. So that is this poem. Thank you.